Hello everybody, and welcome back to Space Engine. Now, I actually did a video yesterday, and I got the entire recording done, and then realized my mic was muted. Like, not on the computer, it was like actually the button on my headset itself was muted, which was very unfortunate. And I tried to actually, like, just redo the audio over it, but it just wasn't working very well. I don't know, it's just, I find it really difficult to do post-secondary, or post-editing. Hello, can I help you? My kitten is back. Well, I guess he's less of a kitten now, and he's more of like, what are you? I don't know. He's past the kitten phase, but he's still, like, small and not an adult. And he's destroying my chair some more. That's lovely. Anyways, so we're gonna go back to the place I did this time, and it'll be great. So, yeah. First off, let's go here. Oh, okay, I need to, there we go. Boop. Go to. Now this was actually a really pretty galaxy, if I remember. Yes. Oh, it's just so lovely. Look at it. And, it doesn't look like it has a lot of star formation going on in it. And this is actually interesting, because with the galaxy, you can tell how much star formation has been going on, by basically the color. You know, because galaxies go through star formation when you have big dust clouds and gas clouds that get compressed and then suddenly, you know, work their way into stars through gravity. But you can tell when a galaxy is going through this, because in this process you get a lot of really hot young stars that are usually like in the O and B spectrum, or like class, like blue and white stars. And there's a lot speckled here on the edge here, but the interior is very red and yellow. Now this is actually interesting because in some galaxies you find they're really bright and they have a lot of blue in them, and you can tell there's a lot of star formation going on there. But in older galaxies, the blue and white ones generally burn out quickly, and then you're left with the yellow, orange, and red stars, which make up the rest of the galaxy. And yeah, it's a cool little thing. Like our galaxy, for example, is there isn't a lot of star formation going on in our galaxy right now. There are, you know, some of the young ones going on, and there is stars forming in some places, but, you know, overall galaxy-wide, I don't think, anyways, there's a lot going on. I'll have to check on that. Again, I'm not a professional by any means, so don't take anything I say as fact. I like to think I'm smart, but I don't know. I don't feel comfortable saying that I'm smart, or like a voice of like an expert in anything. I don't know. It doesn't seem right. I don't like boasting about my intelligence because I honestly don't think I'm that intelligent. Which is weird. Oh, I saw that. Which is weird because back in the day in school, I was very full of myself, and that was awful. Very cringy. I was an awful person growing up. My goodness. Like, seriously. Well, I lost that planet. Rip. But I'm gonna find a planet here with life. We have to do it. It has to be done. I think there's one other place I have to go, but whatever. Actually, speaking of stars, something I've been reading about recently, which I find quite interesting, is orange dwarf stars. Now, for context, it's like our star is a yellow dwarf, you know, G-type. It's quite lovely. And a lot of times people look for G-type stars to find Earth-like planets because, well, it makes sense. We have life here, why not elsewhere? But the majority of stars in our galaxy are M dwarfs, like red dwarfs. And you think, well, let's look at red dwarfs then. Unfortunately, because they're small and dim, their habitable zones are very close to them, which means that any potential planets there might, like, either the atmospheres get blown off, or they're tidally locked, or, come on, or, like, radiation is bombarding the surface. Like, there's a lot of questions, because, like, a lot of these red dwarfs are flare stars, which means they will randomly put out huge flares and change their magnitude just because they're very active. This is a nice little planet. So there's some question about whether or not red dwarfs can be habitable, which is kind of sad because there's a lot of them, and the closest star to Earth is a red dwarf, which is Proxima Centauri. But there's a star that kind of lies in between yellow dwarfs and red dwarfs called the orange dwarf, which is a K-type star. And these are fascinating because there's more of them than yellow dwarf stars, so there's more of them than there is of our sun. But unlike red dwarfs, they're brighter and hotter, so their habitable zones are further away, and they're not flare stars. Let's try information on this. Abiogenic, marine, atmosphere, mostly carbon dioxide. That's a lot of carbon dioxide. Oxygen, water, sulfur dioxide, nitrogen, argon. Was I here before? What's the atmospheric pressure? No, this is a different one. I'm still going to land on it. Anyways, and this is really cool because yellow dwarf or orange dwarfs are actually kind of, in some ways, better than our sun, because they have the positives of red dwarfs and the positives of yellow dwarfs, but without the some of the negatives of them. Oop. Like, for example, red dwarfs live for a long time. Like, a red dwarf can theoretically live for trillions of years, and the universe itself isn't even old enough for us to see red dwarfs at the end of their life, which is mind-boggling if you think about it. However, again, they have issues, whereas yellow dwarfs like our sun are great for life, as far as we know, because we live here, but they have lifespans within, 10 billion years, around then, and that's all well and good, but it's still, it's a time limit, and time limits suck when it comes to evolution. But with an orange dwarf, they are actually longer lived than yellow dwarfs, not as long lived as red dwarfs, mind you. This is quite pretty, actually, but they are much longer lived than yellow dwarfs. So with an orange dwarf star, you get a stable, healthy environment like an orange dwarf, like a yellow dwarf star, and you get a long lifespan like a red dwarf, but without the flares and death. So there's actually some thoughts that orange dwarfs might be a better candidate to look for life, especially like advanced life, than yellow dwarfs, just because more time exists for them to harbor life. And like on Earth, life got reset multiple times. They suspect early on, during the heavy bombardment, life might have been sanitized from the surface multiple times, but material might have been seeded back into the Earth from asteroids that were shot out. So basically life might have been put into cold storage, basically, around orbit of the Earth until it cooled off and then crashed back down. And then even during advanced life, there were multiple extinctions. And, one of the better known ones is the dinosaur, like the Cretaceous extinction. And these aren't terribly conducive to advanced life if you keep having, your environment destroyed and screwed up. However, changes in the environment might actually be good for life too. I'll get back to that in a second. So, if you have these orange dwarfs, you might have a better candidate for intelligent advanced life, and maybe even multiple civilizations. Like one could have arisen and then died out, and then another one could have arisen because they're long-lived enough and stable enough for this to happen. That being said, as I mentioned earlier, actually just a few minutes ago, where's the atmospheric pressure? Okay. Sometimes environmental issues are actually good for life, and they might actually be necessary for advanced life to emerge. Alright, mostly carbon dioxide, oxygen, sulfur dioxide, water, nitrogen, argon, carbon monoxide, neon, and krypton. Lovely. Like on Earth, for example, ooh, come on. Is my mouse not going to work? Oh, what did I click? I clicked something wrong, didn't I? Oh. 1 second. Just had to reset that, but we're good now. Go away. Anyways, like one example is on Earth. For the majority of like early history, life was only microscopic. It was single-celled, like cyanobacteria and stuff like that. But then it wasn't until the Cambrian explosion that life really took off and became multicellular. And there's geological evidence that indicates that the Cambrian explosion happened just on the tail end of Snowball Earth, like the first one, if there was a second one, maybe. And this may have been an indicator that when Earth froze over, it became advantageous for life to group up into colonies, and it just went from there. So this is actually a very interesting idea that planets need to have regular shakeups of their environment and instability, especially early on, to get life kickstarted into actually doing something like reasonable. Whereas if you have a planet where the environment doesn't change for like at all, you might just get life that stagnates, kind of like crocodiles do and alligators. But on the flip side, later on in evolution, it's more advantageous to have stable environments than a more chaotic one. So Earth is actually really good in that area, in that way, because we had a very tumultuous past, environmentally speaking, but we've been fairly stable for the most part over the last few million years, which has been good for us. However, it's believed that rapid climate change is what helped humans really develop intelligence, because back in the day, our ancestors were, primates living in trees and shit, and suddenly the environment, the environment where we lived became more arid, and trees became less of an issue, or became less useful, whereas being able to walk distances became more useful. And so those who could move around and move to different food sources may have actually, prospered better. And also, once you're walking around, you can use your hands to do other things, like pick up a stick, and then hit somebody you don't like with that stick, and then laugh about it, or use it to hunt food. But knowing humans, hitting your friends is probably what happened first. Actually, wait, I need to quickly go to somewhere else. I was told to go here. Anyway, so it's thought that this rapid climate change may have helped push humans to actually, be useful, instead of being complacent in our situational bubble of relative safety. Alright, I was told to go here. My cat is currently digging into... whatever, as long as it doesn't touch my stuff. Alright, well, where are we? These are some nice planets. Let's go to the temperate desert. That sounds pleasant. It's quite fascinating, actually. I love evolutionary biology. This planet looks kind of gross, to be honest. Let's chill out in the mountains. Actually, cooking food also probably helped us a lot. Oh, he's trying to dig up behind my TV, but he can't reach it because I have things blocking his way. Yes, I do. I'll stop talking about my cat. Evolutionary biology. It's fascinating. And anthropology, it's so interesting. Unless you don't believe that it's real and that it's all some kind of weird conspiracy to help Satan or whatever. These dunes look interesting. Very textured. I think this might be a tightly locked planet. Let's find out. Nope. There we go. Oh yeah. We got a locked system. That's a lot of debris just orbiting it. Oh, let's not do that. Huh. Oh look, there's a comet. That's kind of pretty. Well, this whole system's kind of pretty, actually, to be honest. Oop. I remember one time me and my dad were driving somewhere. Actually, we were doing fossil hunting. And we were driving back, and through this one little town, there was this little creationist museum, quote-unquote. It was like 2 rooms and a basement, more or less. And we figured, let's give it a shot, because it's kind of funny. For context, he's an ex-minister, and so we always laugh about the extremists. But we walked in, and it was actually really funny. The miniatures they had were really cool, though. They had this little miniature ark, everything, and it was actually very well built. And I thought I really liked it personally. It had like little farm animals and little plastic dinosaurs on it. That was hilarious by itself. But I really give props to the craftsmanship of the boat. It was very nicely done. But there was a poster that had a little Star Trek thing on it, and it was like talking about how in Star Trek, in reality, it would actually be very boring for them to do stuff because they wouldn't find any life because water doesn't exist anywhere but on Earth. At which point I laughed because, there's more water around Jupiter than on all of Earth, but whatever. This is an interesting little system, actually. That planet's kind of cool. Actually, interesting thing about tidally locked planets is they're sometimes called eyeball star or planets because in this situation the habitable zone for this planet is actually just on the terminator. It's like a little band that goes all the way around, as the day side's too hot, night side's too cold. So it's kind of like an eyeball staring at the sun if you look at it, you know, with the little bands and everything. It's interesting. I love it. Oh, well, where to? What's all this debris? Is this just like moons and stuff? Hot asteroids. Actually, I wonder. Let's go to Vega. I want to see something. I know Vega has a large debris disk. I want to see if Space Engine is correct in that. Well, I just see planets. I don't see debris. Let's check something. Oh, there we go. I was wrong. It does have a debris disk. Well, that's nice. Yeah, because Vega is a fairly young system. It's a fairly bright star. And it has a large debris disk. Which is kind of like in Contact, when they found they pinpointed the message from Vega, and one of the guys was like, there's no way intelligent life could develop in that system. And he made mention of the debris disk, and it's like, actually, that makes me wonder now. And then they mentioned a spaceship, and it's like, it'd be clobbered. It's like, yeah, maybe. Tau Ceti, there we go. Speaking of debris disks, Tau Ceti has 2 large debris disks. It's a very dusty system. Let's zoom in. Well, there's the one debris disk. Where's the other one? I'm not seeing much of a debris disk. Oh, there's kind of an Oort cloud around it, but yeah, no. I'm disappointed that isn't terribly accurate. It's this. Tau Ceti is actually very interesting because it's very much like our star. It's a G type. We're a G2 with G8, but you know, it doesn't matter. Oh, how come I can't get rid of that? There we go. I'm trying to think. Alpha Centauri. I think Alpha Centauri A is a G type, and Alpha Centauri B is a K. I'm not sure. Let's go check. Let's check out Rigel Centaurus B. Yeah, it's a K. I was right. And that's what I find interesting, because it's like Alpha Centauri A is similar to our sun, whereas B is the orange dwarf, which I find fascinating. Yeah, it's a G2, and then a K0. I love it. I love Alpha Centauri so much. Let's slow down though. This comet. That's a very... What is this? Oh, it's the planet. Wow, it's really close. That's kind of disappointing. It's just like burning away, sublimating. Well, that'd ruin my day if I lived there. I mean, I don't live there. I live here. I'm glad I do, because Earth's pretty great. Yeah. Oh, also, I've started working on, oop, I saw you. I see you. Is that Proxima? Come on. Yeah, it is Proxima. See, you can tell by the parallax. I love parallax. It's such an interesting thing. It's kind of like if you're looking at like multiple objects, just move your head back and forth, and you can tell which one's closer by how fast they're moving. Ah, it's fascinating. But no, anyways, I started crowdfunding again for my balloon project. I had to cancel last year, so I'll have a link to that in the description below. If you can help out, that'd be great. I actually have the capsules done this time. I just need to get the equipment to stuff into them, which is always a pain in the ass. But you know, soon. Eventually I can get there. I just need the funding. Oh, it's so annoying. Actually, I've been talking to various organizations and groups about funding, and I've made some progress in that area, but crowdsourcing is still my best bet, because I'm a independent entity, and I'm not a company, and I'm not a university entity, so it's like, bugger. But I have that down in the description below. I've also decided, like, with my rockets that I want to work on eventually, I'm not going to use, like, I'm not going to do a water or a ammonia steam rocket, because the technical issues were just piling up. So instead, I'm going to do hydrogen peroxide rocket, because, you know, it can operate at lower pressures, lower temperatures, and it's safer and cleaner and just generally better. And it's, you know, proven technology, so there isn't much development needed. Subglacial, unicellular, and it's organic. Lovely. But yeah, so if you want to help out, you can in the description below. That's 20 minutes, so we're pretty much done here. Thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Please leave comments in the description below about what you want me to do next, talk about. I'll talk about anything. Movies, space, anything. I don't care. It's all good. So comments below, like, comment, subscribe if you want. I don't know. I don't make videos like, I try to make these videos every week or about there, but beyond that, I don't stick to a very strict schedule. But thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and space.